The New York Knicks are going all in. Karl Anthony Towns is a New York Knick. I've said in numerous videos in the past season that Karl Anthony Towns should be looked at to get traded. He should be looked at to get moved. I wasn't so sure what his value would look like in terms of how other teams would value him, but the New York Knicks, you know, they come up, you know, we see that they are a team that's trying to go all in. Hence the OG Anunoby deal during the season, hence the Mikal Bridges trade this offseason, and now we have the Karl Anthony Towns trade. He has been traded for Donte DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. I've never been a Julius Randle fan. I thought that he was like a black hole. You pass it to him, you're definitely not getting it back. And we got Donte DiVincenzo, I think is the more valuable piece in this trade, and therefore I think that overall for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I don't know what they're doing. I have mentioned plenty of times that Karl Anthony Towns should be looked at to get moved. You see what you can get for him. I definitely think you could have got more than Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo. So I don't know what, actually I do know what Minnesota's doing. They're committing to Anthony Edwards being the #1 guy. They're very high on Jaden McDaniels, and this move clearly shows that. Julius Randle, again, I think that his game is not going to translate for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, just the way he plays, he's going to hold the ball even more than Karl Anthony Towns did. I think that Karl Anthony Towns played his role well. He knew his role. He knew he was the #2 guy, and he was okay stepping aside for Anthony Edwards. And I think that he was very underrated in terms of accepting that role. I don't think that he got enough credit for doing that, just because when he got to Minnesota, he was that guy. And so now we have Julius Randle coming in, and I mean, I think that he plays like he's the best player on the court when he's not. He's going to be playing with a guy like Anthony Edwards where he's going to be having to dish the rock a lot. I think that this move also shows that they're very high on Naz Reid. Naz Reid is a very good player. It's not on the Karl Anthony Towns' level, but who knows? Maybe him not being on the team anymore allows Naz to flourish. And hopefully I can find the clip. I did say that Mikal Bridges, you know, all the Nova boys, they weren't going to win a championship together. I thought one of them was going to shake out. I did think it was going to be like Josh Hart, but Donte DiVincenzo. I didn't think the Nova boys, it was just too good to be true. It was too good to be true, and now he's a Minnesota Timberwolf, and I think that he will play well off the bench. But overall, this trade, I don't like it at all for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know, and I'm very surprised, by the way, that the Knicks did this trade, just because I know that Tibbs was not really a Karl Anthony Towns fan down when he was in Minnesota. I just want to give credit to the New York Knicks organization because, for one, they're trying. They got their franchise guy in Jalen Brunson. They discovered him. They said, this is our guy, we're going to build around him. And they have done a phenomenal job putting pieces around him. They are really looking like a championship contender. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not really a big Knicks guy. But, man, they're going for it. And you just got to respect it. Especially, I got to respect it. Especially me being a Portland Trailblazer fan, having Damian Lillard on my franchise for so long. These type of moves were moves that I were looking for to build around a franchise point guard. And the Knicks, they clearly understand the excitement. They clearly recognize that, look, we have one of the best players in the league right now. We need to maximize his potential, especially because, you know, we see, you know, time tells. We saw a guy like Isaiah Thomas get hurt. His, you know, potential was not maximized. His talent wasn't maximized because he didn't have that type of team. You know, you never know where injuries can occur. So them going all in on Jalen Brunson right now, while he is healthy for the most part, and while he's clearly in his prime right now, he's clearly at his peak. Who knows, maybe there's another step he could take, but he's clearly one of the best point guards in the league right now, and the New York Knicks franchise have done a phenomenal job of, you know, putting names around him. Yeah, the Knicks, bravo, wonderful job. Training camp is like in next week, and this is, you know, welcome to the NBA season. It's Julius Randle. I thought that they would have had to play him in a Knicks uniform again just to get his value, just to kind of gauge that, but they got to trade him without even putting him back on the floor. More front offices need to be acting the way the Knicks are right now. I'm not gonna say that they're a championship team right now. They're definitely contenders in the East. The East just got much more interesting. You got the Sixers adding Paul George. You got the Knicks now, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal. OG was already on the team, but, you know, you re-signed him. You got the Celtics defending champs. You got the young Orlando Magic coming up. You got a lot of talent in the Eastern Conference, and it's gonna be interesting to see how it all shakes out. Final thoughts on the trade: A++ for the New York Knicks. I'll give it a C+ for the Minnesota Timberwolves, just because I think that Dante DiVincenzo is a, you know, serviceable role player. I think, you know, they did a solid thing of getting rid of Karl Anthony Towns. I don't like the package they got for him, but I think that it was, the move itself, it was right for that organization. And now we're gonna see if they took a step back. I'm gonna do it here. My name is Roman. Shout out to my dog Wayne holding it down. LL returns next week. Ha!